Hello, and welcome to this episode of Car Talk with Wally. Today, I will be discussing my top 5 automotive reveals of 2020. First, before we get into it, let's talk a little bit about this year. As we all know, this year has been very uncharacteristic due to the coronavirus pandemic. And auto shows where automakers typically reveal their upcoming vehicles, concept vehicles, etc., they weren't able to do that in the traditional setting after about March timeframe. So that created a very interesting dynamic in the industry where a lot of different events had to occur virtually. So with that being said, let's get into my number 5 on the list. Let's first talk about the industry impact of this vehicle. The Lucid Air is the first vehicle from electric vehicle startup in California, Lucid Motors. I know what you may be thinking. No, this is not Tesla. But interesting fact, a lot of the designers and engineers did come from Tesla in their previous career paths. So they do have a lot of experience with electric vehicles and startups. What is interesting about Lucid Motors is that they actually started off as an electric vehicle component maker in which they would supply battery packs and other different components to other automakers. But the CEO of the company pulled together some engineers and designers from Tesla and other car makers, and they really decided to come together and create their own revolutionary vehicle. So how this vehicle, the Lucid Air in particular, sets itself apart from the competition, which is really only Tesla, with the Model S, is that they seek to provide performance such as the Tesla, but also a very luxurious interior. Because some of the complaints that people have about Teslas is that although they're very tech forward and they have very techy interiors, they lack that luxury feel that maybe a comparable Mercedes or a BMW may have. Let's talk about the design of the Lucid Air. Aerodynamics was definitely the foundation for the design of this vehicle, but they still incorporated a very modern and sleek design that also has a lot of luxurious elements. I like how they took the single character line and fed it from the front of the vehicle through the sides to the rear of the vehicle. Another interesting thing that you'll see is how the headlamps and the grille integrates, and they took that design element to the rear of the vehicle to the tail lamps. The tail lamps are actually the largest tail lamps in the industry, they say. I'm not going to fact check them on that. I'm just going to trust that that is the case. But if you also look at this particular vehicle, there's a lot of space efficiency, which really defines it. There's the frunk and the trunk, which most electric vehicles have, such as Tesla Model S. The front trunk or frunk is actually the largest in the industry. And then if you look at the rear, they've done a very unique thing with the trunk area. They really wrapped that trunk opening to the sides of the vehicle so that the opening is very large and that they truly can incorporate those large single piece tail lamps. But if you open the trunk, there's also a very large opening and it allows you to configure it in different ways. So the other element that really carries over from the exterior to the interior is that large open, green space, which is the glass roof. So that is very, very monumental that they were able to accomplish that single piece glass. Tesla has done that as well in the Model X. However, the Lucid Air really takes that to the next level. And it opens up the cabin so much that you can really see, the sky, you can see skyscrapers, whether you're in the front of the vehicle or the rear of the vehicle. And as we get into those technology elements, infotainment and etc., it has all the modern tricks, such as a wide infotainment screen that has a curve. So it enables the driver to see, all of the things in front of them and configure it in a very interesting way. But also, if you look at the rear of the vehicle, they've really done a lot for the rear passengers. Specifically on the up model Lucid Air, you have a reclining rear seat in which it really creates a lot of functionality, but also that luxury element is fully cemented in that particular rear seat of the cabin. And they do that primarily for the Chinese auto market, where typically they like to get chauffeured during the week, and they may in turn drive their vehicles during the weekend. So it's like has that definitely dynamic plays there. And you can see that in the color palette and how the rear of the vehicle is typically of a lighter shade than the front of the vehicle. The front of the cabin is more purposeful for that driver, and they indicate that in the different color palettes. So expanding on the color palettes as well, they did a very interesting study in which they took a viewpoint from nature, in which they analyzed the different phases of the day. Say, the sunlight is shining on the trees differently during the day as opposed to the night and midday. And so that color palettes can span from different reds, different yellows, different browns, different greens, different blues, also different grays. And so they incorporated those different color palettes in how they design the vehicle and how they offer the vehicle. They also played around with different textures, different leathers, different woods. And it's really interesting the attention to detail that they took with this particular Lucid Air. So the design is definitely a cool and a big selling element of the vehicle. Technology and innovation are definitely the biggest aspects of the Lucid Air. LEAP truly defines this vehicle. LEAP is Lucid Electric Advanced Platform. This scalable platform is the core of this vehicle, in which they place the electric vehicle motor, the battery components, they place them low in the vehicle under the cabin. And so you get a very configurable format. When you compare this to an internal combustion engine vehicle, it definitely pales in comparison to what Lucid has created here, because you can scale this particular vehicle any which way you want. You can take the cabin, you can expand it, you can contract it, you can take that frunk and that trunk and put it together in this very unique way. And that's essentially what they did. And they were able to do that because of this scalable platform. Another interesting thing when you look at the componentry, they pretty much design and manufacture everything in-house, which is very unique because they seamlessly integrate these components in a way that they are very efficient, and then they are also very powerful. So that is unique because a lot of manufacturers, they may seek outside suppliers such as Panasonic and other different components. They may mix it together, but Lucid does everything in-house. So it's very, very unique and enables them to compact a lot of power in their battery cells. So that in turn turns us to the performance of this vehicle. Performance is obviously very, very strong. One of the definite selling points of this vehicle is 517 miles of range on a single charge. That is leading industry numbers right there. No one is doing those numbers, but who knows, once the Lucid is unveiled, Tesla may have come out with some extreme battery pack or something that supersedes that number. So we'll just have to see what happens when it's unveiled or released for production. The other thing about this vehicle is very, very quick. So it does up to 9.9 seconds in the quarter mile. You know, that is a very, very low number. Obviously, the miles per hour, I'm not sure if that was released yet, but that is a very quick car. So it'll be very interesting when it comes to production to see that in the flesh and see how it performs against its competitors. Lucid Motors will be releasing this vehicle in a phased 4-part launch. So the first vehicles you will see being released for sale in spring 2021. The first trim level to be released of the Lucid Air is the Air Dreams Edition. This is the top level trim, and it can go up to about $168,000. But you get 1,080 horsepower. So extreme power and performance and luxury with this top level trim. So there are 3 additional trims for this vehicle with scaled release dates. They follow with the Air Grand Touring model, the Air Touring model, and the Air Pure model. So the Air Pure model, that is projected to be the last trim level to be released. And basically they scale down from price with those release dates. So ending at the Air Pure, that will be available around 2022, I believe. And that price is estimated to be about $69,000. So as you see, they're going to start very high in the range, and then they're going to scale down to, you know, those lower trims and those lower price models. And they do that for production purposes because, you know, it's very important to get your value up front, especially when you're a new automaker. And that's exactly why they're doing that. So though that lower scale model, it's definitely going to have less range, less horsepower, but again, still powerful because the lower trim model, which is that Air Pure, still has about 480 horsepower and also a range of about 406 miles. So still very good and still a very solid vehicle. That is all we have for today, but thank you for tuning in to this episode of Car Talk with Wally. Make sure you see the continuation of this top 5 series of the unveils of 2020, but also look out for additional content on this channel because there's much more to come. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, and tune in for more. Thank you for coming to this channel and tuning in. Until next time, peace and blessings.